Hello, lovelies. So it is our crystal grid time. This one has been one of the most surprising ones, I think, that I've ever made. It's definitely a little bit different from what we normally do. And it's funny because it started out as a star and I kept seeing a star, but I kept seeing a seed. And in the end, it ended up being kind of both, but very plant oriented. So we're gonna start going over the grid. Now you will want to have all your crystals handy, and also when you do the meditation for the candle ceremony and awakening your intuition, it's good to have your grid close by. So this is obviously the original so that it's a little bit easier to see on camera. And in this one we have our seed in the middle and also the eye, and that's because within the seeds we have all of the potentials of who we can be and all the possibilities. If you think of the tree, the acorns and the seeds that fall from the tree aren't necessarily the tree itself, but they come from the tree. So they all have those common threads of information and beautiful wisdom. And each of these center points we're going to talk about because each one of these is a different intention and message. Now this grid is going to be a little bit different because we aren't actually telling you exactly what crystal to place where. And it's not because it's a guessing game, it's because it's meant to be divinely inspired between you and source, you and your crystals, and you and the things that you're desiring to receive. So a few suggestions though, I will go through all of the meaning behind that, and each of the center points are a specific focus. So we have the past and we have the future and we have intuition and we have heritage and all of those things coming through in your life purpose. And so each of these little pearls here in the bottom of each of the feathers are going to represent, which I'll get to in just a moment. But you will want your crystals handy. So you have your clear quartz. So clear quartz is the crystal you use for enhancing clarity. So when there is an area, as I go through in the rest of this video, when there is an area that you feel like you need some extra support in, you can grab that clear quartz for that information. Your celestite also opens up intuition and receiving. So the clear quartz clarifies what's coming through, but then the celestite connects you to that divine source and it amplifies the information you're receiving. And that is the beautiful kind of blue, soft, light, pale blue stone. Okay, so then the next one is your tree pendant. You can wear it on your neck or you can use it in your crystal grid as your amplification. And those are going to vary slightly. Some of them are meant to enhance intuition, some of them are meant to enhance the throat and speaking that intuition, and some of them are more of connection with the heavens and the divine. So either way, you got the one that you were supposed to get, and you can put that either in the center or at one of the center points that calls to you. And then we have our beautiful eagle. So the eagle crystal is designed to invoke all the eagle medicine of intuition by being able to see the broader perspective, being able to see the things that maybe if you just expand your view for just a moment, you can understand a little bit deeper. And then we have our crystal tree. Ta-da! And the crystal tree can go in the center or it can go at any of the points that you feel called to as well. And then we also have your candle. So once you go through your candle ceremony, you can place it either in the center of your grid or to the side to offer some support, or on over one of the pearls. If you're needing to ignite some fire with that beautiful ceremony, then that would be something to use in your grid. Finally, you do have your beautiful snowflake obsidian, which is a protectant, and you can also put that over the ring of the grid or over the center and then have a crystal in the middle of it. So the snowflake obsidian helps to shield, but it also helps to open up intuition. So it's that clarity piece. That's kind of what the white flecks represent. And then the black, which helps to transmute that dark and protect you from the dark that would confuse. And I do recommend either putting it on your grid or wearing it on your wrist as you move through opening yourself up a little bit more. And you'll notice that in your kit, you have 7 points of reference on the outside and then 1 center point, but you don't have that many crystals. And that was intentional as well, because you get to look around you and either find a pebble or find a seashell or find an herb or a piece of bark or a crystal from a previous kit and apply it to this intuition kit grid, because it helps to show you that it's more your intention and your connection that flows through. So it's one of the kits that I'll explain each of the centers and what they mean, but definitely tune into what activates within you and what calls you to apply something in a certain way. So I'm going to talk about the energy setters, but I also want to point out the fact that it's a big nest, and the nest is important because what we're doing is we're creating the container. A lot of times when birds are making their nest, which you can hear them everywhere here, I watch them nest all the time, especially the hummingbirds. They're fun to watch. And so they spend all this time nesting and creating this container. Why? Because they know that something powerful is coming in it. They know that life is coming. Even if it's a first-time mama bird, she knows, I need to make this. Something inside of her, her intuition, her inner knowing knows that something great is coming. And it's not the anxiety of, oh no, I'm going to have this empty container, I need to fill it with these things. She's actually very strategically doing it. And we tie in the eagle medicine from your eagle soapstone, and that ties in with the nest. And actually I didn't realize that till exactly this second. There's intuition. So the eagle, I love the story of the eagle. So when a mother eagle makes her nest, she starts by putting really, really sharp thorns in her nest. So she makes out a frame of thorns, and they're not meant to hurt them, but there is a purpose. And so sharp, sharp, sharp thorns, that's her foundation, is things that make us uncomfortable, the things that kind of poke us and prod us and get us to move and to shift. And then she's got a layer of sticks over it, and that fills in all the pieces. That creates the full experience. So it's like you have your bones, and then you have the muscles and the tissue and all of the filler. You have the things that create the full experience, okay? The fullness, they hold structure. They also keep predators from creeping in. So it's a way of fencing and a protection by having that fullness. Then you have the soft grass and the sweet down feathers. And so these feathers are a little bit different than feathers I normally like to paint, because they're the down feathers, which are the ones that are up underneath the normal feathers. And they're usually squiggly, scraggly looking. They're super, super soft. They're kind of like the pillow, and they're just super sweet, because when the little eaglets are born, the first thing they're going to have is they're going to need that soft, sweet comfort. And so it's like, oh, here's your soft, sweet comfort. So if your intuition is in need of the soft, sweet comfort, then you can embrace that piece. That's here for you. And you can say, what are some things that can make life easier? What are some things that help to soothe? And that's where intuition of loved ones who have passed on coming to visit come in. And that's where the intuition of what can I do to make my life easier? Or how can I stay in alignment so that things flow? What is it that is the easy, soft, sweet stuff? So for me, my soft down feathers is painting this for you, because I love to paint, but I am a busy person and I don't always make time to paint, but it brings me so much joy. And it's so much fun to not know all of the meanings behind something until after it's done. And then oh, I was just tuned into that frequency, and you get kind of that spiritual rush. And that's channeling, rush, all the same thing. And so when you're tuned into that higher vibration, it feels fuzzy, it feels good, it feels like a spiritual high. And sometimes we crave that, and we get addicted to that, and then we expect every spiritual experience to be like that, and it's not going to be. That is the fun, special sweetness when you are just barely learning how to stay on that track, or maybe you've had a setback and you're just barely getting going again. As humans, we're always going through cycles. That's why we also have a circle. We're always learning that as we go through things, we're going to have this really powerful, wonderful moment, and then we're going to have a moment of more challenge and going uphill. And then it'll go easy and it'll flow really fast, and then we have to go uphill again. And so we're always going to have that cycle. So the soft, sweet down reminds us of, okay, what's my cycle? And if you want to journal as you go through this, the idea is to provoke thought and empowerment of yourself, so you can tune in and go, what do I need right now? Especially with this kit. If you're struggling with some self-doubt, I'd recommend doing the self-love kit before the intuition kit, just because the self-love kit helps us to know who we are and connect with that first, and then we feel stronger to tune into the intuition. So if you notice your self-doubt always coming in with your intuition, do the self-love kit. If you've already done the self-love kit, then move forward into the intuition kit anyways. Or message us and we can help. So with that down, she has it there so it's something soft to ease her little eaglets and the little chicks all into transition. So this is what they do. They make this really, really soft blanket filled nest. Well, as the chicks start getting bigger, she wants them to stand. And so in order to get them to stand, she starts to pull away the feathers. And she picks them and throws them out of the nest. So the nest, she's actually decomposing and decompressing and having the nest fall apart as the little eaglets grow. Why? Because they don't need to be in the nest codependent forever. We don't need to be in the nest codependent forever when it comes to our intuition. When it comes to our intuition, we get to choose where we're going with things, what we desire. We get to have that place of empowerment. Now, sure, at first it can feel like we're codependent because we are. We don't know what the heck we're doing and we need some support and some help, and we need to find people that can help and support it. Absolutely. But at some point we get to evolve past that. And so what will happen, and this is where a lot of us get frustrated with our intuition, what will happen is spirit will start to pull back just a little bit, not necessarily out of our space, but maybe we'll have to learn a new skill or a new language, or they'll offer an upgrade. Or maybe there's a situation that happens that causes us to have a physical ailment so that we have to understand how to heal our own selves in order to help and heal other people. So there's a huge array of that. But a lot of times people think that resistance is a, oh no, don't go for it. And it's actually a, ooh, here's a challenge. Try and stand up. And so as those sticks are the only thing left for their little tiny weak legs, the little eaglets have to practice standing up and standing up and standing up. And so that's when they start to hop a lot. And they're practicing standing up their legs. A lot of times she'll even come to feed them and she'll hover above the nest. And so if you've ever seen a nest filled with little baby birds, it's like their little heads have to stretch so far out to eat, and then they're all the way back down and they stretch so far out because they're working those muscles. They're learning how to use them. Just like in using our intuition, it's a skill. The more you have an opportunity to use it, the more you're going to have that skill developed, and it becomes easier and it becomes fluid and it becomes, hey, look at this thing I just painted. Wow, that was really cool. I didn't expect to paint that entirely. I was trying to do a star. And so it allows things to flow easier when you can trust it and when you already have those strong muscles. So then after the chicks all have strong legs and they've been standing up, then she starts to take out all those sticks. Yep, and the nest is a mess. And it feels messy and it feels wonky, and I'm sure that the little eaglets are panicking, going, oh my goodness, what's going on? It's all gone. Who moved it? Ooh, everything was the same. I just want everything to stay the same. No, we don't. We want to evolve. That's why you're watching this video, because you want to evolve. You want to open up those channels. You want to be able to be inspired in all of your actions. And if something's a no, you want to know it's a no right away. And you want to be able to be guided, right? And so that's why we're like, okay, I see these thorns are here, but I know they're not to hurt me. I know they're for something else. And so as the thorns come in, it becomes really uncomfortable on their little feet. And so then they hop and they sit on that side of the nest and they're like, ooh, I'm like getting ready to get outside this nest and I don't know that I want to be here. And it makes it easier for them to hop. And as they hop, they start to flap their wings because they want to hop higher. And if they can hover for just a moment, then they have that relief, right? And so this is the hot pot. This is where we're in the darkness sometimes. It feels like this is where we start to doubt all of the choices that we made in light. And they're like, I don't think I can fly. Are you kidding me? I've never flown before. I can't fly. Just because my mom can, but she's amazing and she's been there and she's already done it. Or, maybe we don't have good mom relationships and it's like, oh, my mom can fly. Well, I don't want to be anything like my mom, so I'm going to stay here in this nest. But you can't, because it's making you hop, because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to stay in the spot you've always been. And this is a lot of times why we don't open up our intuition too, because we're like, what if I don't like the information I get? What if it does make me uncomfortable? What if it makes other people uncomfortable when I'm like, hey, psst, I know something about you. And I hear all the time, like, this like spirit being came to me and has a message for this person, but I don't know how to say it and I don't want to be a crazy person. Well, odds are they're not going to just come to a random stranger. The people who do that, I feel like that's kind of a violation. So if you just set out the intention saying, hey, can you have people who are open to receive gifts be the ones that I get information for? Then it's really easy, because I don't tap into people unless they ask me to. But then when they do, it's always the right time. They're ready to receive it, and you're not throwing away your gifts and your insights and the information that you received. And again, we're all receiving information. And if you're watching this, you're already on that vibration. You're already in tune. You're already an empath. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be drawn to these boxes. Rick and I, we set very strong intentions with this. And it's not just us, but we are very guided that we tell Spirit, like, hey, you need to put the people that this is for in front of this. We'll create it, but you help them to find it. We'll put ourselves out there, but it's your job to connect the people who are supposed to be connected. So if you're watching this, yes, supposed to, and good job at following your intuition, right? So then as the little eaglets are hopping and bouncing, eventually they do fall out of the nest. And when they fall, that's when the male eagle comes in and he catches them and brings them back up. So that's the power of the masculine and feminine, which is also present here. So I'll let you play with that as you gaze upon it. And this is also part of why the eagle is in our kit this time, is because even the female eagle, she picks her mate based on their ability to catch falling twigs and sticks and logs. Why? Because when those little eaglets get so uncomfortable that they bounce so much that they fall out of the nest and they haven't developed their wings, it takes them a few times of falling till they can figure out, oh, flap, catch the wind, catch the air. You know, I'd imagine, I'm not a bird, but I'd imagine it can be really scary and they panic. But then in that panic is when it ignites and activates. And so this is the way they activate, is by falling through the air, diving in, not really knowing, but knowing there is somebody there that's going to catch them. Now, the mother eagle, that's how she selects her mate, is based on him being able to catch her babies. So she will start during courting. This is what they do. This is actually what they do. This is why we love the eagle. And oh, I love it so much. So during mating, the female eagle will go and grab a stick and they do their little dance. And then at some point she flies up really high and she drops it. And as it falls, the male sweeps in, grabs it. And as soon as he grabs it, she's off to get another stick and she drops another one. And they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And she tries to make it harder and she goes up higher. Why? Because she's testing him. She's challenging him. She's like, are you going to save my babies when they fall out of the nest? Because if not, they die and we die. So I want this to continue, but I want to know that I am safe and I want to make sure that my babies are safe. And if you can show up and help be that support that I need at that exact moment that I need you, great. And if not, I'm done. Because if he misses just one stick, she's lost interest and she flies off. She does not tolerate anybody who's not going to actually support her. Just let that sit. Do I tolerate people who do not support me? And especially with your intuitive gifts, you don't have to go and share with the world what your intuitive gifts are if you don't feel safe doing it. So being sure that you're surrounding yourself or sharing with people who are actually safe. So then let's look at the rest of our kit now that we've talked about a little bit about the nest. So we have the seed we've talked about, we have the feathers and the twigs, and there's thorns in here, all for you. So now we're going to talk about those 7 points. So those 7 points, there's hidden golden pearls in there is kind of what they look like as they came through. Those are our energy centers. So making sure that we're paying attention to all of the areas of our life and our intuition that can come through. So let's talk about the bottom first. So the bottom, you'll notice these 2 root spots. So one of them, we're going to talk about the one on the left. That has to do with your past experiences. So this is where you want to put a crystal or a stone or even a piece of bark or a feather or a leaf, like finding any object or a past kit. And again, we didn't include these because we felt very strongly, well, number one, we could do more other things that we felt we needed to do. But number two, because we want you to use your intuition to discover what belongs here, even if it feels like glorified guessing. Send me a picture. If it's wrong, I will tell you, but you know I won't, because it will be right, is what I'm saying. Not that I can't tell you, no, that's wrong. So right here, this past experience holds all of your potential, all of your information that you've acquired. So that's that intuition. So when I receive information, I am a vessel. And so Spirit will give me information in a context I can interpret so that I can share it to somebody else. So that's where all of my past experiences, they're all in my head because I experienced them, but I don't always talk about them or access them unless I'm told to. If there's something in your past that's either that you feel is hindering you from opening up your intuition, say you said something and people took it weird, or people did actually say you were weird, or maybe you followed your intuition and then something horrible happened, like you felt some thorns, that's going to be that energy point. So if you feel like you need to protect that or cleanse that, then I invite you to look at that as you create your grid. The next one we're going to look over here is the shadow. So what is unseen? So this is a really good one because our intuition is actually the only, I don't like black and white thinking, but I'm just going to say it, follow my intuition. It's the only way that we can access what is unseen is through our intuition. Because if you can't see it, you can't see it. And your intuition guides you to it. Even if it guides you to a person that can help you reveal what you're not seeing, it's still using intuition to find that person, to follow the steps, to find what you need to find. So if you think of shadow work, a lot of times, and we do mention it quite a bit, I know, shadow work is a lot of times, if you think of light pushing on you. Oh, my phone just went 333. That's so funny. Huh? Okay, so if you think of shadow work and you think of light pushing right on you, there's always going to be a shadow cast unless there's light blasting from behind as well. And so when the light's blasting on you, there is a portion of you that you're not going to be able to see. There is a portion of darkness that's going to be back there for contrast. But if you have somebody who can come around and go, hey, it's right here. Or if you can go, hey, guides, can you tell me what I'm not seeing? Who's behind me? That's going to help that area. So this is your shadow work center. And of course, these are the roots. These are the things that are outside of the light. These are things that are deep, 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 deep down, and they feed and influence everything up here. So that's why these are important, because a lot of times we're like, I'll just live in the light and I'm just going to focus up here and I'm just going to grow and I'm just going to grow past these dark things that I don't like. But they'll still affect you, and they'll still come out over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until you look at them. So asking yourself, what is it that I need to be open to seeing? Now, if you are focus is on diving into that shadow, you can actually put your snowflake obsidian around the center point. You just rest it right there on that circle. Or if you're trying to look at your past and move past that, you can circle here too. So these are like the dark things, the yucky things that we don't always want to deal with, but they are so important because they feed everything else. Now you can see there's only 2 of those, and then there's 5 more of the other branches. And that is very, very intentional. So yes, it's intense, and yes, we don't always love when we're moving through that, but it is so powerful when we do, that we don't have to do it as often as long as we're doing it on a regular basis. Okay, so then over here on the left, this branch, this is your DNA. This is your ancestry. This is the line of how all of that has been programmed into you helps you to grow and to expand. You're expanding the programming that your parents gave you. So if your mom and your grandma and your great grandma all struggled with feeling worth and feeling like women were less than, that's been passed down to you. But it's also been passed down to you so you can grow from there. So you can grow it. So you can either choose, here, this is why it's in the light, because there's a choice. It's not under the surface. You can choose to go with it. And at 555, oh my goodness, that's really funny. My phone, every time I look at the time, anyways, oh, I love it. As you tune into your DNA, you can choose to expand and grow the veins that have been programmed into you, so you can continue on the path of, you're right, women are worthless and we are less than, and we should be barefoot pregnant in the kitchen, right? That's one of the programmings that I received, is that women shouldn't work. And they should just make their husband happy, and they should just get married and have babies. And like, why would you want a career? And okay, if you want to go to college and learn child development, because that's going to help you be a better mother. Yeah. Welcome to my world. And so I could take that, or I could take that information and go, actually, I'm going to take this and I'm going to transmute it and do something different with it. And instead of expanding the vein that you created, I'm going to graft it in with mine, and I'm going to expand over here, and I'm going to say, actually, we are to nurture, we are to support, and we are to help, but not just our own little families and by keeping us small, by expanding all the light that's in us, by helping our community, by reaching out and helping the girl next door, by helping our sisters to feel like they're enough and they're worth so much more than what they settle for most often. And tuning into that, I'm going to grow that vein so we can graft them in, which is probably why it's so wonky. So there's a dot there. So if you're healing, right here. So if you're healing mother issues, if you're healing your DNA, if you're healing the programming, because, we have the Great Depression, we have wars, and that's just the recent history. If we look deeper into our history, there's a lot of yuck, right? The most of us had. It doesn't really matter where your ancestry comes from. At some point, there's oppression. At some point, there's programming that gets to be transmuted. At some point, they left everything for something they believed in, or they died for something they believed in. Like, all of us have that warrior within us. So what are you accessing that way? What information is in there? Then we're going to go over here to the other side. This is the part you're receiving and you're growing from what you received. But then this part is what you are sending out. So this is your posterity. This is your lineage. This is your legacy. It's not necessarily like, oh, what am I going to do today? It's like, when this lifetime and this human existence is over for me in this form, what did I pass on? And I'm not just talking DNA, but yes, if you haven't passed on your DNA yet, do you know we can rewire each other's DNA? Well, I'm just saying. You can, and that's a whole nother story, but you can rewire DNA, you can adopt in ancestral rights. So what types of things are you giving? What are you leaving? What is your imprint? What do I do with my life? Well, what do you want to be on your headstone? What do you want people to say at your funeral? That's that piece, okay? So then up here, the next one right above that is the action. So this is tangible things. So this would be like, so for me, I'll just be really personal with you. Many years ago, I was at a business training, and at that training, they had us create a mission statement for our life. So here I am creating a mission statement for Hollie Hope's life. And I was in a different headspace than I am now, but it's still the same message. And it was, I remember I wrote it and it hasn't gone away, and I've tried to rewrite it and it hasn't gone away. I'm like, this is me, this is my mission. Please put this on the tree that I'm buried next to, because I don't really want a headstone. But I do want a tree next to me. I want to feed the tree. So next to, or placed by, or at least said when I die, I would love people to say she was a beacon of hope and light. That's it. I'm a beacon of hope and light. That's my legacy. That's what I want to give. So I want all of my babies to feel like my mom was a beacon of hope and light, and she showed me where to find the hope and where to find the light, and she drew all of it in. See, I don't go and travel as much as a lot of other healers do. I like to pull it into me and draw you here, because this is where we're grounded. This is our earth. This is like part of the experience in this existence, right? And I love that I get to invite people who do go travel and can go to all these other realms and then come back and tell me all about it and share that unconscious energetic information. And so my legacy is, I want to be a beacon of hope and light. So anything I do connects to that. Painting connects to that. Making drums connects to that. Healing connects to that. Even when I was a makeup artist, that connected to that, because I'm like, hey, you're beautiful. See that you're beautiful. Here's some things you can do so that you can accept your own beauty. And all of those things dial back to be a beacon of hope and light. And so that is your legacy. But up here is the action items. So what actions would I do? This would be painting, like inspire me of what tangible actions I can do. Going forward, I can paint this grid, and I can have it to ignite even just one thought. Even if it feels like a random stray thought you're having that's not related to anything I say, perfect. It means that you're tuning into your intuition, which means I'm being a beacon of hope and light. And so they feed each other. That's why they're kind of more tangled in together than the other ones. Okay, so this is actual tangible action. So when people are like, I don't know what to do with my life, I don't know where I'm going with this, I don't know what I'm supposed to do or supposed to be or what the right choice is, a lot of times it's good, better, and best. But any action should also match this one. So if you're gonna have two of the same crystals, it should be these two. Or could be, because it could be whatever you choose it to be, okay? Then on its opposite end, here on the left, because see, this is the right, this is left if you're looking at it. As I'm turning it this way, it's, yeah, a little bit different. So over here on the other side, and if you flip-flop them, guess what? It's all good. You're not going to go to spiritual hell because you didn't do your crystal grid. It's not gonna mean it's not gonna work because you didn't do it. Just putting that out there. So here on the opposite side, so we have our action and our masculine side, and then we have our feminine side and our receiving. So this is, as I'm saying here, I'm a beacon of hope and light, what am I receiving? Well, I love receiving financial support so I can go and have adventures and provide for my family and not have to worry about that and continue doing it and not have to whore myself out working for another job. That would be great. But deeper than that, what am I really receiving? Well, I'm receiving more light. I'm receiving assistance, support, love, you know, earth gifts. Like this tree is my apricot tree. So when I get apricots from it, oh my goodness, it's just the best gift because it hasn't been fruiting. And so when it does fruit, it's celebrated. So what are you receiving, or what are you trying to receive? If it's not in the physical form, put it in the intuitive form, put it in the spiritual world. What am I receiving? I'm receiving some guidance on what needs to be in here. I'm receiving, you know, information, like I'll be making a drum and I'll be like, I don't know if this is gonna work. It feels like it's wonky here and it's too thin. And suddenly I'll have a thought pop in my head, we'll do it this way. Oh, okay, do. And so now it's to the point where I stop and I go, okay, drum, tell me tell me what I need to do here to make you happy, to make you be what you need to be for a person. So that's why I have to meditate the whole time I'm making them, and I can't multitask that part because I'm receiving information, or I'm receiving healing information or words that I'm supposed to share with the person. Just like when I do a intuitive healing session, I'm receiving information. So this is going to be the receiving vessel. So clear quartz is really good at this so that things aren't distorted, amethyst, or whatever you feel called to help clear out and cleanse that piece. And then the very top piece right here that you can see, that is our center point. That is the channel that goes all the way up to the heavens. So this is all, see, I wrote all knowledge, ding, right there. So when you think of like your crown chakra, if I'm like up a little short, I can move my, no, I'm not gonna move my camera. So right here, you have your crown chakra, right? So that's the portal, and that's where all of it is accessed and all of it comes. So as you're doing your meditations and you envision this light body going in and this light going out, light going out through your feet. Oh, it looks like 2 legs. Look at that, 2 roots, 2 legs. Huh, didn't even connect those dots either. But that's all knowledge. That's your access to the all. So we have the receiving specifically for you and the guidance from your spirit guide specifically for you on this side. But this is the all, everything funnels through there. If you feel like you're struggling with any of these, focus on this one, because that is all. It will have all the shadow, it'll have all the light, it'll have all the information. This is where you access realms from the beyond. This is where we access our God energy, where these are more spirit guides. This is God, if that makes sense. If these are angels, this is God, okay? And so that is your beautiful crystal grid. So I hope you enjoy this one. I would love to know what you create from it or what else you might see in it, because just because I paint them doesn't mean I see everything. So yeah, enjoy that. And I do recommend setting up your crystal grid when you do your candle ceremony as well. Just having it already set, already watching this video and saying, okay, now I'm ready for my candle ceremony where I can connect with each of these center points. And this is a really nice one to keep handy when you have a hard choice to make. Going forward in the future, right now we're combating the negative emotion of worry, and going forward in the future, you know, months down the road, you'll probably be past your worry, but you'll just have a hard choice to make. And that's when you can pull this out and go, okay, let me take a minute and let me look at, what's my DNA saying? What is my past history saying? Because in the past, we learn from it, and that's our education. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to repeat. What is my shadow side saying? Is there something I'm not seeing? Is there more information that I'm needing that I'm not getting? Where is my purpose and my legacy? How is this in line with my legacy? If I'm choosing between 2 career paths, which path is closer in alignment with my legacy? Which action is closer in alignment with getting that legacy? Which receiving, what tools do I need? What things do I need? What information do I need outside of myself, outside of the regular tangible, perhaps, that I need to access through here? And then what is that God energy saying is the highest good for all? I love the question asking, what is the highest good for all? Highest good for all. So that's where when I say, if you don't know and you feel like, oh, I don't know if I trust my intuition, what's the highest good for all? Ask that question. And then you can put whatever is calling to you in that centerpiece. So I can't wait to see your grids. I would love it if you post and share your grids when you get them set up, because it's really cool to see how they change just a little bit. Those of you who have sent me pictures, I love it, because it's like, here's a picture of what I made, and here's what I added from this kit, and here's what I added from that kit, and here's what I found outside. And I'm just like, oh, that's exactly how you're supposed to do these. So I love it. We try and give enough that you can create a grid, but if you add your own personal intuitive pieces to it, it makes it that much better. So anyways, I will see you in the next video. Love you guys. Na-na.